We have got to talk about Kai Havertz. The man splits opinion. Sometimes maybe good,
sometimes maybe
but the player has really evolved this season. You could argue that he was a Premier League flop at Chelsea, getting nowhere near the level of potential that was seen in the transfer fee that brought him from Bayer Leverkusen over to England. But at Arsenal, he's starting to really evolve, and I'd put him in the category of one of the most underrated players in the division. If you hate Kai Havertz, don't switch off this video, because I'm going to explain to you why Kai Havertz has become a really key part of Arsenal's team and has made them better. Kai Havertz is a player that liked space. We're going to dive into that. We're going to talk about how Arteta has got the best out of him. We're also going to look at the statistics, the tactics, and all that analysis. I'm Statman Dave. If you're new around here, make sure to subscribe, like the video. But anyway, let's get this party started. So let's start things off talking about Kai Havertz. Not the quickest or most explosive player on the planet, but Kai Havertz is a very good, intelligent footballer. The big thing with Havertz, when you're looking at his profile, he doesn't really fit into a traditional position around the pitch. He's not a central midfielder, he's not necessarily an attacking midfielder, and he's not really a striker. He doesn't really have those natural attributes that we'd expect. Maybe the pace to get in behind the defence of a Kylian Mbappe, or the sort of sheer physique of an Erling Haaland, or the false nine play of Lionel Messi. In attacking midfield, he's not a Kevin De Bruyne that gets on the ball and creates chances from front from that position, and he's not really a central midfielder, maybe like a Rodri. But Kai Havertz has built his own role at Arsenal. Arteta is a very intelligent manager, and he saw what we all saw of Kai Havertz at Bayer Leverkusen, a player that excels scoring goals and getting assists, but more importantly, could be a really key cog in a side. When we look at Arsenal, they've got a lot of players that like the ball into feet, the likes of Martin Odegaard, both of the wingers like receiving wide and dribbling at their opponents to create opportunities, but also players like Jorginho or even Declan Rice like to get on the ball. And here's where Kai Havertz excels, one of the best off-the-ball players in European football. When we're looking at players like Kai Havertz, one really jumps out to me, and that is Thomas Muller. Thomas Muller is not renowned for his speed, for his ability to create chance after chance after chance, but he's renowned for being in the right place at the right time. A little bit like Filippo Inzaghi, all those 90s football fans out there, one of the best goal scorers of our generation. But in terms of Thomas Muller, what Thomas Muller is, he is a Raumdeuter. And that's the role that I think Kai Havertz is playing for Arsenal this season. But Dave, those silly football terms you bring out all the time, give me a definition. Anyway, this is what a Raumdeuter is. A role invented by Thomas Muller in an interview in 2011. The Raumdeuter literally translates to English as space interpreter. On the pitch, a Raumdeuter doesn't have a specific position. Instead, they're given the freedom to roam in search of pockets of space in dangerous areas, with the main aim to provide goals or assists from these zones. Not a role that requires outstanding physical attributes, a Raumdeuter relies on overall intelligence, great mental attributes, whilst good technical skills are a bonus. This sums up Thomas Muller pretty well. One of the best German players of all time, Muller is the all-time assister in the Bundesliga and the third top scorer in the history of Bayern Munich, pretty much because of his ability to be in the right place at the right time. So how does Kai Havertz's Raumdeuter skill set work at Arsenal? So far, Arteta's used him in a number of positions. He's used him as a number 9, he's used him in central midfield, in a deeper area to play that kind of more box-to-box Granit Xhaka role, but also he's used him at number 10. The key part of this role for Kai Havertz and for Arsenal is he's an option to play into feet. The big thing is what you'll see with Kai Havertz is when the ball is progressed, either from defensive midfield, from fullback, or from centre back, when those balls are played, those line-breaking passes, Kai Havertz is always an option. He's a player that really moves well. He's usually drawn to the side of the pitch that the ball's being played on to be an option for teammates. Frequently what you'll see with Kai Havertz is he'll adopt the position at the top of the diamond to allow his teammates to really play into his feet and recycle the ball. It's a really key thing in football. Sometimes you need a player that's going to get attracted, that can get the ball into feet and move it really quickly. These days we expect every single player to play every single type of pass to break the lines, but important parts of systems and teams are guys that retain possession. Havertz will frequently take only 1 or 2 touches when he's receiving defeat and then simply move it to his teammate. The nominal wingers on either side, alternatively trying to feed Martin Ødegaard into a certain area, or the striker that's playing with him, usually Leandro Trossard. So we're going to dive into different reasons why Kai Havertz has suddenly hit this patch of form, because when we look at the data, the basic data in terms of goals and assists, 2024 has been far more productive than 2023, and that's come from Arteta moulding Kai Havertz into what he wants as a footballer. The first thing that is required of an Arsenal central midfielder under Mikel Arteta is being a box threat, a player that can attack the box from that left-hand side, especially when the right-hand side is creating those options, as we see time and time again with the interchange and creativity of Ødegaard, Ben White and Bukayo Saka, to make an option to get the ball into that penalty area and attack the back stick with an overload. Kai Havertz is starting to get that role, and it was a role that saw Granit Xhaka have his best goal-scoring season in a single league campaign under Arteta last year. So let's take a look at an example of Kai Havertz box crashing with his winner against Brentford. The first thing you're going to notice right now is Havertz in the middle of a box. This is something that he does time and time again for Arsenal. He's constantly an option into feet, independent of whether he's playing as a centre forward or here when he's playing as a left central midfielder and he's advanced into that attacking midfield zone. Always a great option to feet. As Arsenal work the ball down to the right hand side, just notice how Kai Havertz almost looks a little bit lethargical. He looks a bit lazy, but then he springs into action as Saka receives the ball onto his stronger left foot and whips it to that back post. We can see Havertz moving from a standing position to an explosive position in an instant, creating a 2v1 on the back post and giving Arsenal a vital goal in their quest to win the Premier League title. So in terms of that from a tactical sense, we mentioned Havertz crashing into the box is something that's expected of Mikel Arteta's central midfielder. Frequently at Chelsea, he was playing in a far higher position, and hence why he scored more goals in a single Premier League season with 9 under Arteta at Arsenal. A central midfield box crasher, the first reason for his real evolution as a footballer. The next thing Havertz has improved in 2024 is how well he's been interchanging positions with teammates and exploiting space. Arsenal have a number of players that can play as a number 9, but if Kai Havertz is playing central midfield, what you'll frequently see him do is interchange positions with a nominal number 9. We described Kai Havertz as a Raumdeuter, a player that likes to go in search of space, to find pockets to receive possession, be it on the left-hand side, be it high on the defensive line, be it behind the fullback. Havertz loves finding space. So what you see with Arsenal at times when they're building up deep at the base of midfield is you'll see Martin Ødegaard drop in to try and get on the ball, and maybe even the number 9 in Leandro Trossard dropping deep. What Kai Havertz will do, he'll pick up the position in the number 9 area to receive to feet. And we saw that interchange in the brilliant goal Declan Rice scored against Arsenal. So we pick up the action with Arsenal 5 goals up at the London Stadium. As I mentioned before, Martin Ødegaard dropping deep to get on the ball. We also noticed the striker, Leandro Trossard, is in a central midfield position. With balance, it being so key to football, Kai Havertz has got to stay high and move into that advanced area. Martin Ødegaard splits 2 of West Ham's lines for Havertz to receive to feet. One of the big things that you'll notice with Kai Havertz is his first touch is really good. It looks almost simple for him. He opens up his body so well so he can ship the ball on. It's a key trait. If you've got a first touch, it means that second action is a lot easier. And we see here with Kai Havertz, after receiving the ball into feet, he opens his body up in this move, taking 3 of the West Ham midfielders completely out of the game. When you look at players, you'd expect maybe Kevin De Bruyne, Bruno Fernandes, or even a Martin Ødegaard to play a through ball in this situation. There's runners ahead of him and they've got the vision and passing ability to do that. What I like about Kai Havertz in these areas when they've broken the lines, Arsenal, and then he's received to feet, is he keeps it really simple. It allows them to keep that attacking momentum. The big thing, as I mentioned before, that one pass took out the West Ham midfield, and as the attack kind of continues with the underlap from Martinelli, the flick back to Ben White, what you'll notice is no West Ham midfielders have put in a single tackle. They then collapse. They're in a bit of a chaos state. They don't know what to do. Ball breaks to Declan Rice, goal time. But that all comes from Kai Havertz being in the position to receive defeat. He's understanding that the balance has got to come. Odegaard's gone to get on the ball deep. Trossard's followed. And in that game, we saw that frequently. Trossard moving off the line. Havertz moving into attacking midfield or into the striking position from left central midfield. This guy has got a lot of good game intelligence. Now it's time to talk about Kai Havertz as a striker. He still plays this Raumdeuter role for Arteta. Recently, Kai Havertz has been blowing up with goals and assists, and that's because Arteta's actually been playing him more as a number 9 than that central midfield position. But I do like him in both roles. He's a different chess piece for different games in a different position. For Arsenal, he plays a little bit like a target man in a sense of when Arsenal are getting squeezed or pressed like they have been against Manchester City or Liverpool. They do like to go long from centre-back up to Kai Havertz. We mentioned his height before. It's an asset for Arsenal. You can't go through the press, go over it. But more importantly, what we see him do time and time again from this number 9 area is receive into feet. His ability to technically take it under control is a huge asset for Arsenal. He keeps it simple in a sense. He's a really dual threat striker. He'll receive into feet, move the ball on with a simple pass, and then get into the penalty area. It's really simple. Receive a line breaker, move the ball on, rinse and repeat. Over and over again. But this gives Arsenal real control of games. He's not a vital cog like a Martin Odegaard, maybe like a Jorginho or Declan Rice when they're playing these bigger games, but he makes the team better. He levels them up with his movement, with his unselfish play in between the lines, getting Arsenal to that final third. When Arsenal set themselves up in these bigger games, we usually see Jorginho and Declan Rice playing in that kind of central midfield area, Odegaard and Kai Havertz creating a real box midfield, with the kind of height of the team held by both of the wingers, Martinelli and Saka. Due to Kai Havertz, not only tactical ability to find these pockets of space, but also his technical ability, Arteta can use Havertz as a pawn to overload the opposition's press. And that's exactly what happened against Liverpool in the 3-1 Premier League win. We pick up the play with Ben White in possession. What Arsenal are going to do is they're going to restrict Liverpool's pressing structure, go wide, and then penetrate through their lines. Kai Havertz plays a key role in this move. We can see him just top of shot near the referee. So as Arsenal recycle possession around the back, they've instigated the Liverpool press, and Kai Havertz dropping deep from that striking position allows him to overload the press in that central area. A quick one-touch pass from Havertz, and then the ball work wide breaks the Liverpool structure, allowing Arsenal to not go through the Liverpool press, but round it. A progressive carry then follows from Zinchenko into the final third. Then what I like about what Kai Havertz does now is he clears the defensive midfielder. McAllister tracks him back as Havertz makes that forward run, which opens up that pass inside to Martin Odegaard. Havertz is not finished there. He then becomes a threat on the last line, running in behind the defence. If you take a look at his goals that he scored against Sheffield United and Burnley, you'd know that Havertz favours striking the ball with his left foot. He probably should have done that in this situation, but, it breaks to Bukayo Saka, who fires the ball home. But really key as a striker, dropping deep to get on the ball to overload the Liverpool pressing structure. Onto the second thing that Havertz is starting to do with Arsenal is understanding the movement of his teammates to warp the opposition's defence and create opportunities for mismatches in the backline. So take an example against Newcastle United. Newcastle set up in their kind of 4-5-1 structure and shape. What you want to do against Newcastle is you want to manipulate their centre-backs and then make runs from out to in. We saw that in Kai Havertz's goal, but his ability to just create a little bit of space for his teammates making a run from out to in was vitally important for the goal. What you saw with this Arsenal setup, it was slightly different. Odegaard was in a deep position, and Ben White was actually the one threatening the opponent's backline, but also on the far side with Martinelli making the runs in behind the defence. So there was two threats going forward, which means from an understanding perspective, you need someone dropping off the line to slightly take the attention of the two defenders, and we saw that with the goal, with a brilliant ball over the top from Jorginho. Martinelli had made a run across the pitch, and again you saw that double movement from Kai Havertz, moving off the line, warping the defence, and spinning in behind and scoring a great goal. And we take a look at the goal, Jorginho in a deep position, Havertz just dropping off the line, we can see that. The movement creates an issue with their offside trap. The two centre-backs are higher than their two full-backs. You never want that in European football. That's created by Havertz moving towards the ball. Martinelli spins the other direction. He's fine with a great Jorginho Jorginho pass. And then Kai Havertz, who really well spins off the defender. You're going to see Fabian Schär's going to defend the near post, but Havertz has already made like a really nice like curved run behind. He's going to attack the space in the penalty area and then side foot the ball home with his right foot. But that ability to warp the opposition is a key reason for Kai Havertz's massive improvements. On to number 3, Havertz as a threat in behind the defence with direct passes. We've already had a look at the likes of Ødegaard finding Kai Havertz, good players finding each other in good moments. But let's talk Jorginho, because in fact Jorginho played with Kai Havertz at Chelsea. Jorginho is a classic regista. He's a player that's going to control the tempo and going to dictate the play from deep. He's got ability with a long pass. Kai Havertz, as we mentioned before, is a space interpreter. He's also a threat on the opposition's backline. He's not just someone that's dropping into feet. And their relationship has blossomed over the time they've played together. Notably a goal I remember in the 21-22 season where Jorginho clipped a lovely ball over the top for Kai Havertz, who killed it with one touch and then dinked it over the goalkeeper. We're starting to see that in 2024 for Arsenal as the pair have been taken into the team and now they understand their roles within this Arsenal setup. Kai Havertz is a multifaceted player in terms of movement. He'll drop off, he'll go deep, there'll be double movements, he'll move a lot off the ball. Combine that with Jorginho's range and his ability to find a pass and you've got a devastating combination. Not only have we seen that for Chelsea, but we're starting to see it at Arsenal, notably in the game against Brighton. And when we're taking a look at this type of play and this type of movement, just keep an eye on how active Kai Havertz is. He's constantly making those little movements. Must be an absolute nightmare to deal with, especially the runs from that sort of second line, that midfield line to the defensive line, very difficult to deal with. So Havertz is already dropping off the line as Jorginho has received it. We can clearly see that he's probably a decent forward option, as we mentioned, that kind of modern target man into feet. If you want to play a technical whip pass, Havertz has got the ability to take it on and could link with Martin Ødegaard in that inside right channel. But Arsenal are patient. Their possession game under Arteta is fantastic. So this time, Ødegaard drops deep, Havertz moves the other direction to create space. Key concept for Arsenal. But as the plays move around, just keep having a look at Kai Havertz. He's dropping deep, he's checking. Lewis Dunk doesn't know whether to go with him, whether to track the run. He just starts to get into a really uncomfortable position. As the plays move back to Jorginho, he's now in that classic regista position, no pressure on the football, which is a real problem because he's got the range and vision. But you've also got to look at Kai Havertz. His uninterested body language right now, in a split second, ready to explode in behind the opposition's backline, using his vision of Jorginho. He knows that Jorginho's set, ready to play that pass. I'm going to spin in behind the defence and I'm ready to go. As we've mentioned many times, one of the big reasons why Havertz excels in this position, again, that first touch, instantly brings the ball down, drives into the penalty area and then gets his head up. He's a smart player in all assets of football. He spots Gabriel Jesus on the edge of the box, simply slows himself down and clips a wonderful ball onto Gabriel Jesus' head, who heads wide. But that ability to not only move in so many different directions, but have a great connection with another teammate is a massive asset for Arsenal and is a big reason why Kai Havertz is starting to see a lot of fruition in this Arsenal team. And we saw the exact same movement in Ben White's goal against Sheffield United. Initially an option into feet in the diamond, then runs off the midfield line to become a threat on the last line when Jorginho receives. A great first touch and a simple layoff for Ben White to score. Kai Havertz is starting to become a real danger for Arsenal. And Havertz's improvement is highlighted by the stats. Comparing Havertz in the Premier League at Arsenal in 2023 to his form in 2024, Havertz is having more touches across all thirds, including 47% more touches in the penalty area. He's receiving more passes and more progressive passes. He's having nearly 7 times as many shots on target. He's creating more chances, scoring more goals and getting more assists. But the biggest improvement comes from his involvement in Arsenal's shots. His shot creating actions have gone from 1.4 to 4. His goal creating actions have gone up from 0.23 per 90, which would rank him 200th in the Premier League, to 1.37, which would actually be the best in the league in 2024. Havertz has massively improved in all of his play, and we haven't even mentioned his improvement in the defensive side of his game, which Arteta deserves a lot of credit for. defending deep when he's playing in central midfield, in a 4-4-2, defending in a dime, allowing him to press like we saw he did against West Ham, forcing Alvarez into a sloppy pass. But Havertz is also able to defend aerial duels in Arsenal's block. His effectiveness is highlighted by his duels against West Ham. He frequently duelled Thomas Souček, but as seen by the map of his aerial duels, he came out on top. Under Mikel Arteta, Kai Havertz is starting to realise his incredible potential that we saw at Leverkusen, going in 2023 to one of the worst signings in the transfer window, voted by football agents to one of Arsenal's most important players. I've been Statman Dave. Today we've spoken about the incredible improvements that Kai Havertz has taken under Arteta this season. Get into the comments below. Which do you think is the best position for Kai Havertz? Is it central midfield? Is it a striker? Or is it somewhere else? Get in the comments below. Subscribe if you do. Like the video. We'll see you later.
Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, why not check out some more content on the Statman Dave YouTube channel?